republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call.
Here.
Councilor McCormick.
Here.
Councilor Jacobs is absent. Supervisor Lodge.
Here. Okay, we'll go right into our public hearing on that zone change as far as political signs are concerned. Does anyone have any questions on that, or? Yes.
Yeah, Gary, standard lifelong resident of the town of Volney. I'm curious as to whose idea this particular zone change is.
I believe originally I think was brought up by myself, you know. I believe it's dangerous out there putting signs up, you know, and if we could eliminate one of the times of doing it, it would help, you know.
Well, I think it's kind of dangerous to have the signs up in some of the places that they're in. You know, they block traffic and so on and so forth. And now you want to allow people to have them up for almost 3 months out of a year. I think that's kind of crazy.
They're actually going down for about 2 weeks. Right back up again.
Well, it's 2 weeks, it's 2 weeks. But to leave them up there almost 3 months is ridiculous. You know, they blow all over, it's litter. And it really doesn't make the town look very well. The other thing I'd like to know is, most zone changes, aren't they supposed to be recommended by the planning board to the town board? Well, I sit on the planning board, and nothing was mentioned to myself, and I don't believe any of the other members were approached.
I believe your chairman was approached. I was going to bring it up at your meeting. I don't know.
Well, she didn't, but... And also on zone changes, aren't they supposed to be reviewed by the county planning?
I don't know all of them are. This is a local law. Most, basically that particular part of the zoning is just basically town of Volney. I mean, other places the signs do stay up.
If this is approved tonight, when will it go into effect?
Probably immediately.
Well, if it is approved, I would suggest that it didn't go into effect until after this year's elections.
That's up to the town board. Everybody, not just my decision.
I understand that. And the whole town board isn't even here, so, you know, I don't know how you could even think about approving it anyways. My suggestion would be to, you know, hold the public hearing until the other two board members are here.
Well, I believe the other two board members are in favor of it. I can't help it if they're not here tonight.
I understand that. Thank you.
This is a public hearing, and the fact that there are two board members not here is to me, wrong. I have some questions, and I think the fact that you can leave up signs for several months at a time is terribly wrong. Number one, if you put signs up several weeks before the primary election, there are storms, there are wind storms. Most of these signs are made of paper. With wind storms, they get in bad shape. After the primary election, if they're still up and they're still viable, and they're in terrible shape, and I've seen that because I ran for political office myself, and I find that signs can be rotted, destroyed. Who determines when signs are going to be are in terrible shape? And they're in terrible shape, and some of them are after a few weeks, after a storm especially. Who determines whether they're and they look like hell? Who determines whether they can remain?
I imagine it would be the individual who put the signs up there.
I'd like that I really think that's a question that should be answered, because I can see an opponent saying, his sign is in terrible shape, I think I should remove it. And I just think there is so much possibility for destruction of your opponent's sign if you're running for office. I just think this is, and I do think that signs after a certain period of time can become very, in very bad shape. Because when I ran for office, they did, and so they had to be replaced. And if they don't get replaced, who determines when they have to be replaced? I'm very much against this ordinance or this amendment, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
I say anyone that has a bad looking sign in their yard, then you have the right to take care of it. Am I right?
I would definitely think that.
I would say so. I mean, if I had a bad looking one in my yard, I wouldn't leave it there. I'd take it somewhere.
And I would think that the person whose sign was up would want to replace it or do whatever they wanted to do with it. But
Because you have to give permission for them to put it there in the first place.
anyone else?
Yeah, I have one other thing to state. We have a bunch of cause signs in this town, and I want to know what's going to be done about those. Cost has been determined that they're a political action committee, which I consider that a political sign. They've been up for 2 years in this town. When are they going to take them down? Possibly our code enforcement officer should force them to take them down.
The only thing that I can tell you is 3 different communities have challenged it in court and lost. And they've been allowed to remain up by court order under the Freedom of Speech Act. Mexico, I think the last guy, there were 3 different communities in this town that challenged it, issued violations notices, they were taken to court and they lost. If I do it, the same thing's going to happen. I'm going to spend the town money trying to get them down. It's going to get taken to court and we're going to lose. And we'll spend the money. You know, we'll be wasting the money when previous history on 3 different cases in this county have shown that the courts have allowed them to remain up.
I realize this is not a debating situation, but I'd like to know why you want to do this.
The same thing I just told him. As far as the signs,
Yes.
the reason behind it, I believe, was thinking that there wouldn't be so many people out putting up signs and parking side the roads and stuff like that. It is a dangerous thing to be putting them signs up all the time, especially when you get on the busy highways.
There wouldn't be as many signs up.
You wouldn't be taking them down and have to go back out and put them all back up again in 2 weeks, you know? Everybody's rushing around.
Everybody has been doing that since day one, since we've been a community. Since everybody's been a community, everybody has been doing that. They've been taking them down, putting them up, taking them down right after the primary, and then after the appropriate time, putting them back up again. I don't think it's a dangerous situation. The people that are doing it are very much aware of what they're doing. And never mind.
Anyone else?
Fred, one more thing. A hearing is to listen to the people. And so far tonight, I haven't heard one people stand up and say, this is what we should do. I'm saying we should not do it. You should not pass this. It's wrong. And if somebody stands up and says we should do it, I'd like to hear them. And why?
Yes.
William Roscoe, Seneca Hill. Seen this public hearing, and the gentleman didn't have grace enough to introduce himself to the town board. thinks that it should do what people wants. I say if you got a sign in your front yard, no matter who put it up, it's a disgrace to the area, it's your responsibility to take it down. Also say that if you put signs up and you see that they're a disgrace to the area, it should be your responsibility to see that they're taken down. And I also agree with you on the dangers of taking signs down and putting them back up 2 weeks later.
Fred, I apologize. My name's Dave McFarland. I'm a former supervisor of the town of Volney. I live in District 3. Apologize to you, sir.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll adjourn the,
I make a motion, we adjourn the public hearing.
I'll second it.
Mr. Warner?
Aye.
Mr. McCormick?
Aye.
Supervisor Locke?
aye.
Meeting is adjourned.
Okay, we'll call our regular town board meeting and we'll dispense with roll call. Communications and announcements. Okay, I have a letter here from David Winfield. And please accept this letter effective October 1st, 1998 as official notification of my resignation from the Volney Zoning Board of Appeals. As of that date, I will no longer be a resident in the town of Volney, county of Oswego. If there are any questions or concerns regarding issues I have been involved with, I can be reached at 689-3941. And that's signed David Winfield. We have another one under communications and announcements, I guess, is we did settle a tax grievance with Jefferson Smurf, and we had to pay them back $4,000. You know, that was up for, I believe, a 3-year period. It was, you know. And other than that, I don't have any. You have any?
No.
Okay, we'll go into committee reports. We want to do that right now? Okay. We do have one more thing to do. We can get Carol Durfee to come up front here. This is pictureless because she didn't get her picture taken.
I give you a picture.
Presented by the town of Volney officials to Carol S. Curfew in appreciation and recognition for the 25 years of dedicated service from January 1974 to present as Volney tax collector, and from 1997 to present for serving as deputy town clerk and deputy vital statistics register. I'd like to present that to her. I mean, I know nobody likes a tax collector, but we do. Now we'll go into committee reports. I don't see our assessor here tonight, so,
He gave me one.
okay.
This is by David Gray. He's completed the evaluation course in Syracuse by the New York State Office of Real Property that was held during the month of August. And the town attorney, Ron Clark, has met with Ron Carr has met with Bruce Clark, the county attorney, and the attorney for the petitioner in regard to the airport hangar at the Oswego County Airport. And I'm hoping I can resolve this litigation with a minimum of time and expense. That's from David.
Building inspector?
For the month of August, we did permits for 2 homes, 9 manufactured homes, 2 additions, 2 accessory buildings, 3 pools, 3 decks, 1 commercial building, and 1 miscellaneous, which was the water tower for the new water district at Seneca Hill. For a total of 23 permits, total fees collected were $3,107. We issued 6 certificates of occupancy and 1 certificate of compliance. for a total of 7. We did 30 new construction inspections, 6 fire safety inspections, 9 building code inspections, and 12 zoning inspections for a total of 57 inspections. We had 4 zoning violations that were reported and are in the progress of being investigated, and 2 building code violations for a total of 6.
Zoning?
Nope.
Dog control?
Well, I had 30 calls, 12 dogs on the town this month, of August. 4 in there right now. 3 will be going shortly. Total number of dogs is 8. Number of dogs redeemed is 1. Total number of dogs unitized, none. Total of 3 dogs reported lost, 3 of them. 1 total number of dog bites reported. I had another one yesterday, but I didn't get all the information on it yet. I'm working on it. I traveled 665 miles this month. And repairs, I replaced the water pressure cable to water pressure pump. And the floor needs repainting.
Highway?
Expenses for August 1998 are as follows. Supplies and maintenance, $45,391.46. Payroll, $17,692.53 for a total of $63,083.99. The payroll hours are as follows. 446.5 hours machinery repair, 74 hours tree work, 331 and a half hours paving, 92 and a half hours mowing, 2 and a half hours on sign work, 51 hours trucking, 497 hours on drainage work, for a total of 1,495 hours. We've done some paving the last couple of weeks. If the weather holds out 2 more weeks, we should have it done.
Planning?
I have it. The regular monthly meeting of the Town of Volney Planning Board was held on Wednesday evening, September the 2nd, 7 p.m. The minutes of the August 5th, 1998 were read and corrections needed to be made. Therefore, the minutes were not approved at this time. The Seneca Hill Medical Campus Elderly Housing Senior Living Project was before the planning board again with a revision to the site development plan, including now the dumpster pad location, dumpster fence enclosure, some landscape screening, and the hammerhead turnaround at the end of the road being widened from 25 feet to 50 feet from the snowplow tracks and the other equipment to be able to be turned around. Jeff Coakley stated that he had to meet with the fire chief in regard to the placement of the fire hydrants and the size of the water lines for fighting fire. And Jeff stated that the fire chief found the hydrants placement and the water lines to be adequately positioned and of such size as needed to fire a fire, she's got, in a structure that size. It was noted that there were plans for a lifetime line to be placed in each of the rooms for an emergency situation should one arise. The sidewalks as well as the nature trails were addressed, however, no final decisions were made at this time. The size of the parking spaces were also addressed, and recommendation was made for the code enforcement officer's opinion as to whether the size of the spaces would be adequate or would they have to go for a variance through the town zoning board because the size of the parking spaces as per the plans do not meet our zoning requirements. After further discussion on the project, a resolution was made to hold a public hearing and was voted on and passed unanimously. Therefore, the public hearing will be held at the regular monthly meeting of October the 7th at 7 p.m. Amy Hillick came before the planning to have a minor subdivision on a piece of property that she owns on the corner of Emery Road and Lock Drive. Her plan was to subdivide the 100-plus acre parcel retaining approximately 100 acres for herself and splitting off 3.393 acres to go with the house that is on the property to be sold to a relative. After a lengthy discussion, approval of the subdivision was passed. The next meeting of the planning board will be held October 7th at 7 p.m. in the Volney Town Hall, with a public hearing to be held that night for the Seneca Hill Senior Living Community Project. The planning board invites anyone who is interested in the public hearing or the meeting to please attend. Having no further business, the meeting was adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Shirley Bench.
Recreation.
The past events were the trip to Grandpa Bob's Animal Park in Mexico, New York, and the kids had a really great time with all the animals, holding them and carrying them around. They had a nice little pony ride too. Up and coming events are September 26th. I'm working on a trip to the movie theater in Oswego. We're hoping to get the movie Dr. Dolittle back in. Right now, there's not a guarantee on that because the people that own the theater are in Fayetteville and they're having problems with all the storms up there. I'm also awaiting a return phone call from Godfrey's Last Stand to set up a trip for there in mid-October. The last month, I've spent a lot of my time working on the reports that were due back into the County Youth Bureau to ensure our funds for next year.
Historian. Old business. New business. Petitions. We'll do our resolutions. Resolution 98-144, approval of public hearing and regular meeting minutes. Move to approve the public hearing and regular meeting minutes of August 14th, 1998, having been distributed without reading.
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Counselor McCormick?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Resolution 98-145, payment of vouchers. Move to authorize the supervisor to pay vouchers 262 through 296 of the general fund in the amount of $13,890.63, and vouchers 190 to 210 of the highway fund in the amount of $45,391.46, shown on abstract number 9 from designated accounts. Councilors Jaquin and Hartraff were not present for bill signing, and I did not sign voucher 269 for $750 business automation, and voucher number 288 for $2.20 for Northern Aggregates. So those bills will not be paid because there were not 3 signatures on them.
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Counselor McCormick?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Resolution 98-146, amendment for political signs. Move to amend section 5E-11 of the zoning ordinance to read, political signs may be displayed 4 weeks prior to a primary election and can be left up until 2 weeks after the general election. If the primary candidates are not running in the general election, their sign must be taken down within the 2 weeks after the primary election. Candidates running in the general election may leave their signs up until 2 weeks after the November election. In all cases, all signs must be removed within 2 weeks after the November general election. I'll move it.
I'll second it. Maybe we can second it for discussion.
Huh?
Because if this hasn't been before the planning board, which I assume it was.
Now, this is a discussion I wanted to table it, but if we're going to get into it, I just soon see where it says 4 weeks prior to primary election, that'd be shortened also. We're talking about the length of time signs are up in this town, well, then let's shorten it up on both ends. then they're not up 4 weeks prior to the primary. They'll only be up a couple of weeks. Maybe we write it up and send it to the planning board. So I move to table it, and we'll send it to the planning board. We'll write it up.
So we're voting on tabling it.
I move.
Counselor Warner,
Did I get a second?
Yes.
Supervisor Lockwood, second.
Aye.
Counselor McCormick,
I just want to clear up a few things that I'm sitting here thinking about. The conditions of signs are up to the candidates. If they're running for office, it's important enough to them to take care of their signs. And anybody that allows their signs to be placed in their yards obviously cares for that candidate, and I would think that they would show an interest and take care of the signs. As far as them being in the wrong places, I'm not so sure that I've seen signs placed in dangerous places other than maybe clusters of signs that might distract your vision as you're driving. I think is more dangerous than where they're located. And the other problem I have is sending it to the county planning. County planning has made recommendations to the town's planning board previously, and I've seen the town planning board ignore the county's recommendation. So I think it's sometimes a waste of time when we're trying to move things along in the town and help people in here. Other than that, I vote yes, we table it.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Okay, the resolution is tabled.
Resolution 98-147, authorize the town clerk to advertise for the position of zoning board. Move to authorize the town clerk to advertise for the position on the zoning board vacated by the resignation of David Winfield, effective September 30th, 1998.
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Counselor McCormick,
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Resolution 98-148, appointment for custodian and assistant custodian. Move to appoint Robert Lockwood as custodian and Florence Lockwood as assistant custodian, temporary, term to expire 12/31/98. I'll move it.
I'll second it.
As far as discussion on that, those are not my relatives, by the way.
Okay. That's great. Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Counselor McCormick,
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Resolution 98-149, authorization for town clerk to enter into a cooperative grant. Move to authorize the town clerk as records management officer to enter into a cooperative court records grant with the county as lead agency.
I'll second.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Counselor McCormick,
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Resolution 98-150, appointment of project director for grant. Move to appoint Patricia Kerfian, court clerk, as project director to work in conjunction with Allison Graham, records clerk, on the cooperative court records grant.
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner,
Aye.
Counselor McCormick,
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Resolution 98-151, acceptance of highway truck bid. Move to accept the bid from Raymore Chevrolet, Central Square, New York, for $25,087 for 1998 one-ton 92 GVW four-wheel drive pickup with 9-foot plow. Am I right?
Yes.
With 9-foot plow. I'll move it. And all the bids are on file in the town clerk's office.
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Counselor McCormick?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Motion is carried.
Okay, we'll move into public comment. Yes.
Don Blaisdell, Town of Volney, President of the Board of Admiral. I don't know if this is my first meeting, so I don't know if this is right or not. We'd like to get information on how we would have someone move a sign that was put up, a handicap sign. At Dishman, a resident was moved into our area, and the sign is beyond his house, and we'd like to have it moved the other side, so he's included in that handicap between the two signs.
This is on Florida Ave?
Yes.
We can take care of that, can't we, Rick?
Yeah, we'll take care of it.
Okay, and another thing I'd like, is there a way we could get a child or children at play sign put up between three houses? Usually on the weekend, there's at least like 15 children from the ages of 3 on up. If we could get, because cars go down through there. It's only probably maybe from here to the corner along the road is. It's not very
I know
long.
which road it is.
And the cars come down through there at an ungodly speed. They go around the little curve there and squeal tires, and then they hit the gas again and accelerate to the corner. And with that many children playing in that area, if we'd like to have something put up, or speed sign or something. There's no signs on that road at all that say how fast you can go.
Well, why don't you get your neighbors to come in with a petition and petition for lower speed limit on that Florida Ave, and we'll present it to the proper authorities to get done.
Okay? See, I don't know how to
Yeah,
go about
because
this.
technically, it's not posted, it's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Yeah, there's cars going around that corner and they go right off into the ditch, you know.
So that's more or less the best bet, is to have your neighbors sign a petition, and we can petition the lower speed limit.
And also, another thing is, there's going to be water piped up to the airport. Is that, I guess it's in the planning through.
It's been discussed.
Been
Let's
discussed.
go.
And it, from what I understand, it's going down Gillespie Road, out through, and then up 176.
It is just in the discussion stage, there is not any.
Well, we'd like to have our area in that discussion too, as if it Florida Ave, because, I mean, just this summer alone, I've bought 20 loads of water from my well at $30 a pop. It's pretty expensive.
Well, in the plan that was discussed, the Gillespie Road and that area will be taken care of in that plan.
So Florida Ave, we're being with
But
Gillespie.
we're waiting to hear back at county level to see where we're gonna go with it. They're the major landlord out there, the landowner, you know. We need quite a lot of cooperation from them in order to pull that project off.
Thank you.
Alan Downing, Town of Maitland. I'm here representing one of my sons that own property on the northern end of Looks Lake Road. I do have a copy of the letter here from you to George Jarrett for part of this year regarding leaving this road open, the old Mud Lake Road. At the present time, there is a gate across that that's padlocked. Mr. Jarrett, my son, cannot get to their property.
Mr. Downing, how long has that gate been out?
Too long. Ever since me, exact date, I don't know, 8, 10 years maybe.
So I tried calling you yesterday when I heard you were coming in. I couldn't reach you by phone.
I'm retired, I'm not home.
Ah, good for you. I mean, why all of a sudden, I need to understand why all of a sudden is the gate.
It isn't,
It's
it's
been
just
up
something
so
that's
long.
being put off and not addressing it. Mr. Jarrett, I believe, I don't know whether it's you or
Yeah, talked to me.
I talked with him, but the gate is across on Town Road. It's locked. If they need a gate, put it on their own property, which would be Krause's.
Also, the question come up as, who gave permission to put the gate up? the town board knows nothing about who gave permission to put the gate across the town road.
The landowners did not.
The gate can be moved. Now, I got the question, who's gonna patrol that short end of that road to keep all the trash picked up that somebody's gonna use for a dump?
I caught people dumping their trailers in there, and I told them they better move down.
You know, I mean, we can get the gate moved, but then it's gonna have a time consuming for our highway department to go over there and just keep that short road patrolled.
Well-
Now, maybe it's simple, would it be easier if everybody had a key to that gate?
I've spoken to the people that operate it now, and that was suggested. I've seen no key.
They suggested no key?
No, I've seen no key.
You've seen no key. Well, then we'll have two choices. Either they say everybody has a key so they can get to their property, or the gate gets moved back to Mr. Krause's property.
Yeah, Mr. Jarrett can't get the back of his, fix his fences. And my son can't get on the back of his.
Yeah, he can enter from the new mud lake, but he can't get onto the back end of the property.
Right. Thank you.
I can't see a problem where if we have to, if we don't move it as far as just each of us having keys, that could be arranged real simple, I think. We have to take a padlock over there and we'll hand out the keys ourselves, make sure everybody gets them.
The only
This
thing
was suggested to people that are operating it now 2-3 months ago.
Uh-huh.
Because the big thing is without the gate, you are going to get a lot of people throwing trash
sure.
down in there.
Sure.
The gate probably is a good idea the way it stands now, but yes, you should have the right way to get down into your property.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
David Farland. I just haven't attended a meeting in a little while, and as a former town supervisor, I found it fascinating that the fact that when I was supervisor, everybody said, gee, you should have comments on the resolutions prior to them being voted upon, because the public should have input into the resolutions, because without input, you people really don't know what the public thinks about the resolutions. And so that's what I instituted, and now I find it very fascinating to see that the public comments are not allowed until after resolutions and discussions. Just a comment.
Yes.
I'll comment on that. As far as I know, that policy still is in effect. When they go in, somebody seconds it, any one of us can stand up and ask questions. I've done it in the past. And since I've been coming to meetings, nobody's been stopped from asking questions before they voted on the resolutions. All we have to do is stand up and ask, and they let us talk. In years past, that wasn't allowed to happen, but the last few years it has been. Anybody wants to speak before they vote and stand up and ask to be recognized. That's from my personal speak, being on this side of the board. I know you haven't been in a while, Mr. Farland, but
Yes.
Fred, if I had stood up in the course of your meeting and asked about a resolution, would I have been recognized?
Yes, you would. I think you have the same sheet we do, doesn't it? It says resolutions and discussions.
Yeah, but that is prior to public comments. And at no point in your business of the town meeting did you ever ask for comments relative to the resolutions. That's the only point I make.
It's my mistake. I usually put down there public is invited to speak. But my fingers didn't hit the right keys to do that this time, so it's not there. Ordinarily, we do have the public is invited to speak during the resolutions and the discussions. And the people that's been coming know that.
Any other comments? Future meetings, October 7th, the planning board will be meeting at 7 p.m. October 13th will be our next bill signing agenda and preparation, that's at 6:30. Zoning board will be meeting on October 14th, and our next regular town board meeting will be October 15th at 7 p.m.
It's not the second Thursday, it's the third.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but with the Tuesdays.
It's the third, because I think the first is on a Thursday.
Oh, after, second Thursday after the second.
No, it's the second, no, it's the second Thursday, period. So our meeting will be,
Then our bill signing's gotta be the 6th.
gotta be the 6th.
And the zoning board has to be a son.
6:15.
Zoning board is the 7th, planning board the 14th.
Friday, Tuesday, no.
You got October.
I'm just saying, they need to change it.
She's got the first planning board meeting is October 7th here.
Yeah,
And that's the first
that's the
one.
first Wednesday of the month,
Uh-huh.
planning board.
And the second one is the 14th, right?
It was just our meetings were off.
Pardon me?
Just our meeting.
Just our meetings were off.
So the zoning board's gonna meet
It would have
after.
been the third Wednesday you had, it was printed up there.
When's the zoning board gonna meet? After,
14th.
which would be after our board meeting? Okay.
Seven.
Someone like to
I make a motion that we adjourn?
I'll second it.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Counselor McCormick?
Aye.
Supervisor Lockwood?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. I'll say